ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Shyzalosophy 101. Here's your host, Shyzabox. Oh, is the show starting? Oh, it must be. We hear our introduction. Everyone's calling our name. They love us. Everyone loves us. Get out of here. And the horse you rode in on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Nuns and all, welcome. Priests, preachers, rabbis, cardinals, bishops, whoever's around kicking it, having a good old-fashioned time doing that of whatever it is they do. That's right. We have got a show for you tonight. You might be saying, we wish you didn't. Hey, who was that? It was pretty funny. Laughter warranted, sure. Well, we've got just a brief little update that we wanted to, make note of, this, that, the other. You might be saying, like, what's all this Mayo mental talk about, right? Yeah. Sit back, celebrate, because the first update for Mayo mental is out. You might be saying, what, mayonnaise is an instrument? Well, it absolutely is now, because someone was joking around about it, and we made it into one, and it's available on our IPFS right now. You can go to the scriptification and feel free to go play you some Granny's Mayo. Fist that jar and or now, family-sized tub, as much as you would like to. That's right. You might be saying, what the hell's the point of this? Well, there isn't one. It's just funny. So, as we sit back, really, that was it. And that was the whole reason for stopping by tonight. And just say there's a small little update. And we're all going to make, another update on the iteration and versions thereof and this, that, the other. But while we are here, obviously, we're not going to just make mention of a small little update on the Mayo Mental, okay, and Dipset. No. Because we have to take it upon ourselves on a regular basis, okay, to take the time to apologize for last stream. So, sorry about that. All right, excellent. Now that we're on a clean slate, and no matter what we did in the past is forgiven and forgotten, right? One way, shape, or form, doesn't matter. We think to ourselves, with this small little update that's done and available now on Mayo Mental, that allows people to select from, yes, that of a, hot jar in itself, and that of a hot glass jar, in essence, of Granny's original recipe, and that of a family-sized tub, all right, of, I don't know, another version of it. Who cares? Point is that you can go play a tub of mayonnaise and or a jar. Have yourself some fun with it, because everyone needs a working link to send one of their buddies for random reasons. But, lo and behold, if you care to share the entire site within itself, within it is housed the LimeWire-inspired music player, some games, some demos, things of that nature. You can have yourself a good time, should you choose to. Feel free to stop by, check it out. Other than that, as we think of other additions to updates and iterations thereof that we want to do with a couple of the working demos and games and things of that nature, and we want to go back and fix and patch out some, issues that are, rearing their heads here and there, as far as, some breakdowns and coding and things of that nature. That, let's be honest, when you're, the individual team of one independent researcher, and you're going through the lines of it all and stuff, eventually, you kind of segue and switch to whatever that of you can. Hello and hi, yes. Hello and hi, yes. It's excellent that we can greet each other in the same manner. That way, we understand all of the messages coming within. So, yes, hello and hi. Who is that? Kenneth Lopez. Well, Kenneth, if you're related to Mario Lopez, that would be fantastic. Tell that dude to go to our IPFS and play some games. I don't know. Or don't. Who cares? And Easily Riley. Well, Easily Riley and Kenneth Lopez, You guys said hi at the same time, so we don't know who we like more, pretty much, right? You know, you might be saying, like, oh, we want to compete for the best of the worst internet celebrity ever's appreciation. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Let's get back to why we're really here. You saw a thumbnail or something about Granny's original recipe mayonnaise, and you couldn't resist. That's right. And if you would like the story, we've told it once or twice. We'll tell it again. Why not? It's our show. Something to celebrate, internet. It's free. When we were on the stream a few streams ago, it was in the past, someone jokingly was trying to mess with us, and they asked us if, in itself, mayonnaise is an instrument. And believe you me, at first thought, we were like, absolutely it is, because we correlated South Park immediately. Okay? Not only is there source material that we could base upon our knowledge that mayonnaise could be portrayed as a fun working, computational demo, okay, available on Web3, we knew that we had to get it out and provide it to the masses, okay? So that's exactly what we did, and now with the first upgrade, the first update to it, okay, you can select between Granny's original recipe and or the family-sized tub. And believe you me, doesn't matter which one you do. They're both ridiculous, and it's hilarious. But say you don't want to play with Granny's mayo jar or tub, okay? I don't know why. I know, right? It's pretty funny. There's plenty of other games and things to keep you occupied. Maybe you're into nostalgic, old-school LimeWire fun, okay? Aren't we all? We are. That's why we made a decentralized, LimeWire-inspired music player available on our IPFS right now. Correlate that with our working Swarm Mesh demo, and the future is looking pretty nice for anyone looking to sail the seas of the wild, wild west of Web3. That's right. There's some fantastic stuff on the horizon. So, if you want to dabble in Granny's mayo and, fist that jar to your heart's content, feel free to. But if you want to venture out and you want to branch off into the games or the arcade section or anything like that, there's plenty to keep you, busy and occupied on the site itself. And, you should find plenty of reasons should you be able to wait out your access there too and, kind of fine-tune that depending on your browser of choice, right? Some of them are a little more arduous to navigate than others, especially with them necessitating certain extensions, this, that, the other, okay? So, they make it a little harder than it needs to be, okay? And it's ridiculous. Absolutely. But should you, like we said, not want to, play with the mayo mental, you don't want to, fist Granny's jar, whatever. Go play one of the other games should you choose, or curate your own playlist and enjoy yourself in your time, listening to music, selecting one of the 6 available themes to choose from, with little dancing stickmen and stuff like that get messed with depending on which theme you choose. That's hilarious as well. Our favorite is Ember. That's all the stick people are dancing. This is on, if you're just joining us, the LimeWire-inspired music player, okay? It's on the IPFS or whatever. It's audio section. Okay, scroll down. First thing on there, it's the LimeWire-inspired music player. You can curate your own playlists. One of them, theme-wise, that you can select from it is Ember. And the little dancing people, while they're dancing, a guy runs by on fire and lights them on fire, okay? Now, it's not real, okay? Little digital stick figures, but when you put in your own music, your own playlist, or your own files, obviously, and you're listening to tunes, that shit's pretty hilarious, okay? Not only that, but say you don't want to watch, the emulation of little digital stick figures. There's other themes on there. There's, birthday theme where a chef comes by and steals all your balloons. It's Chef Joey. Oh. That's funny. It's on there. There's a robot, a unicorn. We tried to keep it fun. The iDone update or whatever, the one version, iDone theme, that was actually made on stream or under the direction of chat and interaction and stuff with folks on stream. And that one's hilarious as well. That one has the pirate that comes and knocks over all the stick figures dancing and things like that. Okay? So, we try and offer a little bit of everything on the site itself. Plenty to keep you busy should you, decide to go and check out any of that stuff, from games to demos to scientific tools that, are legitimately work and are awaiting auditing, or anyone who cares to, use them, look into them, or, provide usages therewith. With them is completely open and free to do. We don't hide any of our content. All of our math and science is available on our open notebooks on Kaggle. We don't hide behind any of that. Feel free to audit the shit out of us, okay? Because nowadays, in today's internet age, it is a very bold claim, Cotton, to make statements broadly and generalized and stuff like that. Like, theoretically, we've kind of decoded the Voynich manuscript, right? You can't just blanketly go around saying that and then just await for, no response. In our case, we await response, okay? We say it's not linguistical, it's mathematical. Your move, okay? Now, obviously, it matters not, in the long run, what we think on the matter, what anyone else thinks on the matter, whether they agree or disagree with us or anything like that. What does matter is the usages therewith that one can constructively use to an advantage point, okay, to make things better for society as a whole, to create things for, the betterment of everyone who wants something to be just that much better, and not only their own personal lives, which we all do. Right? Everyone wants that extra, find of luck, that extra, friend in your corner, that extra, shoulder to cry on or whatever. Whatever. There are many components, okay, that can really start to weigh down as being either beneficial or non-beneficial, okay? It's non-beneficial to a certain degree if you don't collect and harbor and have all of these extra resources that can be at your disposal, okay? If you're able to work with others and not cover your papers and share your research like we do, our Kaggle notebooks that are open and, all of that, you can really, really, really start creating stuff as a community, start creating stuff as a world, as a species, in essence, to rectify and correct what has been laid out to humanity, and this is all philosophical entertainment, okay? What has been laid out to humanity incorrectly from, as far as we're concerned, as historians, as philosophers, not good ones. Who was that? That was funny. Laughter warranted. We don't have to be good ones. Nonetheless, when you look at the timelines of history and what is there and what is available as far as viewings and details and actual physical artifacts, okay, they contradict the narrative that is in place. And when we do our research and our works and then start philosophizing, all right, on things like Göbekli Tepe and the human timeline, and then we correlate mathematically, our readings with Pythagoras, and, you start thinking of the Voynich manuscript and where we sit on that and things of that nature. Well, before you know it, new non-native species on mankind's origin, we're kind of touching over the components and aspects of society that are completely different from what has been thrust upon everyone from the timeline that's provided, all right? The timeline that has been provided historically, theoretically, all for philosophical entertainment here, of course. Yes, disclaimer. The timeline is incorrect. The timeline is wrong, okay, because artifacts exist that contradict the entire effing thing, okay? So when we venture into, our psyche, comparatively thinking of what theoretically humanity's timeline is versus what humanity's timeline is said to be, there are some massive iterational differences, all right, that need addressing, that need to be looked at, that need to be corrected as far as we're concerned, all right? When we see something like Göbekli Tepe that we theorize would be intentionally covered in to prevent a massive fallout because of apparatus in place, okay, that theoretically and mathematically, scientifically can be proven to have existed, all right, could have theoretically been in place, and it was a necessity, all right, to bury such a place to prevent a even catastrophic in a mass on a grander scale breakdown of the entire grid, all right, the entire, in essence, world, Earth, okay? If there was a universal grid, theoretically, that connected the entire world or the entire Earth, okay, and there was a breakdown in that grid from a catastrophic disaster, natural disaster, something that, polarized and shifted the course of the Nile River, that could have caused such a breakdown in a grid or a system that would have necessitated the need to fill in an area like Göbekli Tepe so that the entire, apparatus didn't become even more and more worse off than it was for wear in the condition that it was the minute that it started breaking down, all right? If you start looking at the theoretical pre-sintering technology that could have existed as far as the composites and the, correlation to theoretical events and things like that, and, historically accounted for records, okay, over the course of period of history and whatnot, you look at, events like the mud flood and the photos that exist thereof and the cleanup, and you start looking at the theories behind Cabbage Patch Kids, and you start correlating the world's fairs, and you start thinking of all this, that, the other, right? Before you know it, there's such a massive amount of data that you can begin formulating theories as to how a timeline could have existed, could have been ruptured, could have been fabricated, could have been, usurped, could have been, omitted, could have been this, that, the other. It doesn't matter, all right? As humans, we get things wrong all the time. Now, that's right. Even us good old Shyzabox get stuff wrong. Okay? When we go back and look at our, works and stuff like that, or read passages, and we end up seeing a typo or something like that, kind of drives us nuts. To an extent, all right? The only thing that's perfect is God. So, it's no wonder that, our literary works might have a typo, or two, or three. Stop counting the typos in our fucking books. Sorry about that. Point is that while the typos might be in there, like we said, the only thing that's perfect is God. So, we need not to compete with that of which is better. That's right. So, as we venture into that of which we can control, of that of what we can, adapt our choice of usages therewith, deductive reasoning or logic, or, argumentatively, that of the psyche or conscience or metaphysics or whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter, okay? Call it whatever you want. When you start correlating philosophical approaches, okay, to the universality of the world in its own, in itself, you need to account for that of theology, and you need to be able to account for that of all the theological claims that are incumbent upon the different factions that they reside there within. Okay? That's right. When you venture then into the components of timelines that have been replaced, eradicated, omitted, changed, altered, all right, you need to correlatively correlatively, kind of tie that stuff in there as well. Because when you have movements of people, and this can even tie into, theoretically, migration and stuff, again, all for philosophical entertainment. That's right. It's free. Nothing like a free show. Tuesday Go. Yes, that was funny too. Don't worry about it. Laughter warranted. All of these components of what then is our idea of a newer, more updated timeline and stuff can come to fruition. And because we live in the present, and no matter what the timeline was versus what it is now, we can see that the timeline continues to go on in the future, well past good old Shyzabox, okay? With seeing that the future, all right, will be there still, we love creating in the present. Okay? That's why we wanted to upgrade the Mayo Mental. That's why we'll upgrade it again. That's why we'll make it better. All right? That's why we'll continue to adjust things on the site, and that's why we'll continue to track down that of thought and theory and, in essence, the essence of what it is to be just a philosopher nowadays in general. Okay? It's not quite the, most brazen profession that one could theoretically take on in a non-academic role or anything like that, right? Okay? If you're inherently a philosopher, unless you have a PhD by your name and you're teaching at a university, generally you're kind of looked at as a bum. You are a bum. Well, see, the thing is that, are we a bum, or are we a rock and roller? See, that inherently is the difference. All right, when you look at philosophy, and you look at philosophers, predominantly, the ones that venture out into the stratosphere of that as a profession strictly do it from academic standpoint of view. Okay, they're doing the stuff that's allowed. They're doing the stuff that's showcased. They're doing the stuff that's approved. All right, and they're following the script of what Plato laid out and said, this, that, the other is super awesome and fantastic, and that's great. And we disapprove not of one iota of any way, shape, or form of how philosophy and how philosophers do that of what they do. To each his own. Okay, fantastic. When it comes down to us ourselves, and we think upon philosophers of the past, and when we begin proving that of our theories, theoretically, and up for debate, go check our math. It's open. Okay? Engage with it if you will. Okay? The Kaggle notebooks are there. All right? We have posted formal theory. Okay? We got, one or two Zenotos that we put up. Okay? Anyone can get a DOI there. It doesn't matter. The point is that with this stuff existing, with us knowing that theoretically we don't need to chase a cosmological philosopher doctorate out on the West Coast and, fork over $250,000 in years of our lives to chase a piece of paper. Okay? It doesn't make any damn sense. What we can do is utilize the practices thereof that we feel that we adequately have reasonably ascertained, okay, from the sources that were from times past, the same as anyone else would in those, areas of study, only in a roundabout, not Platonic, Platon, like Plato, the philosopher, sort of way, okay? Think more Diogenes, okay? Now, sure, just sit there and yell at people and stuff like that and get people out of the sun so he could see better or something. I don't know. I mean, we didn't know the guy. Doesn't matter. Point is, eventually, as we see that our theory works, and as we see we can implement it, and as we see that we have working iterations thereof on the IPFS site with the games and the working swarm mesh demo and the, just LimeWire-inspired music player, all components and aspects of everything that we have on the site working now, all right, as we know that to be true, we start thinking along the lines way more dogmatically. I mean, prove us wrong on the Kaggles, and we'll happily admit that we are such, okay? But because it works there, and because it works on our end here, and because, ironically, it works digitally as a artifact on Web3, we got that shit nailed, all right? Like, there's no way around it. So whether you support the idea that, one could monograph that of the unsayable, all right, that of Lectin in their book Delectable, okay, monographing Lectin, it comes down to the arguable components and aspects of the fact that, in essence, we did. So, the merger of Lithos and Logos, all right, in essence, has been abridged. You're welcome. Okay? More or less so. Anyone can bridge it themselves. They're welcome to it. Okay? The point is that because we have working theories and because we have working models and demos and things of that nature, now we can just take it upon ourselves to adjust them and make them better step by step. Okay? Now, they don't have to be good working theories or demos or models. Okay? But they exist, all right, within the physical dynamics of that of which they do, all right? They exist in the stratosphere of everything that they can do computationally, okay, within the stratosphere that they do, all right? That is of merit and that is of note within itself, all right? Now, keep in mind, when we start doing things like, using Trenuary script and stuff like that, it's in essence not even our creation. It's more a rediscovery, if anything, all right? Now, laugh, this, that, the other, all right? But, if you go to Kaggle and you really want to go down stuff and, depending on your level of what you feel like, feel free to go to our ancient web notebook or whatever. That one's pretty interesting. There's some great output on there. Or say you don't like any of that, but you're curious on that of what can be proven mathematically or scientifically on Kaggle. Okay, venture to go to our notebook Taxes Are BS. Okay, that one, in essence, we put the whole national grid, all right, under a nice little magnifying glass, if you will. Okay. And we, can prove mathematically that each U.S. citizen, in theory, is, overpaying about $2,000 each and every year. Okay? Well, that's not funny. We're overpaying about $2,000 each and every year. That's right. Okay? But the point is that no matter what component or aspect of any of it that, can be proven or is arguably, maybe not so, okay? The math is there, it exists, and it's welcome to be scrutinized, looked over, and, ironically, reproduced. That's right. It's the reproducibility part that really kind of drives the, kind of final form and factor of every component thereof it. So, as we sit back, all right, as we fine-tune little working things here and there, as we make little adjustments, little upgrades, and we, try and keep that of the projects at hand, right, within scope and within sight of our abilities and what we can do, we long for the days, right, that more individuals continually keep working together, more individuals continually keep providing the next stepping blocks, the next stepping stones for people to use, all right, as a stepping block, as a stepping stone, and not use as a stumbling block, just put in their way, keeping them, kind of mitigated and relegated to that of the realm and the dynamic that stops the furthering of humanity's expansion into what is known, what is knowable, what is reproducible, what is, that of worthwhile. So, thanks for stopping by, should you have chosen to. Thanks for hanging out, should you have chosen to as well. Because we got a couple other irons on the ironing board, or irons in the stove. Nah, it doesn't matter. Maybe they're antique ones that you used to heat up that way. You put them on top of the stove. Oh, shit. Those wooden handles are probably going to light on fire. Point is that as we round out the evening, as we, make mention, obviously, one last time, that the updated version of Mayo Mental is available. You can go fist Granny's jar of original mayo till your heart's content. Go to the IPFS, go down to the audio section. It's going to be Mayo Mental. And have your way with Granny's jar. Now available in a tub. That's right. So, Internet, as we go and think of the remaining portion of the night that is to come and what we'll embark and do. Will we play games ourselves? Will we watch a movie? Will we entertain that of the mysteries, and the perplexities of that of the galaxy and that of the universe itself? Who knows? Anything is possible. That's right. And believe you me, when we all work together, everything is all the possible more. That's right. All right. Well, that's pretty much going to do it for us now. If you want to get out of here before us, now's your chance, because we will be departing. But, like we always say, obviously, be sure you take care of yourself first. Anyone else who needs it more than us, second. Anyone else who you like or love more than us, third. Unlikely, but maybe. All right? And then any piddly scraps you got left over, feel free to go to Amazon.com, pick up one of our books, or go to Cashapp and drop us a quarter in the arcade. But until then, we don't want your subscription, we want your money. Download the shit out of this, go to Cashapp and give us a buck. Get off our lawn!